Hey Guiding Bolt fans, I just want to do a really quick YouTube here. I started quilting a few months ago and I'm having a problem. I'm finding really good pictures online on Pinterest or YouTube of quilts that I want to do, kind of like this one right here. This is going to be the one that I'm going to show today. But I click on these Pinterest links and unfortunately they all go into Etsy and want you to pay $15 to buy this pattern, and I just feel like I can create my own pattern. This one is just using some half squares and it seemed pretty simple. I just want to be able to drop my own pattern and not have to pay $15. So I was thinking of the different programs that I already have that are free on my PC. I'm going to talk about Word. I used Word, but there was reasons that I didn't like it, and I'll go over that. And what I kind of settled on is I'm going to make this in my Cricut app, my Cricut Design Space. And I'll show you why I think this is going to work really well, and it should be pretty easy to do. So let's get into that. Alright, so I just opened up a blank Word doc just to kind of show you maybe some of the things that I don't like about using Word. And I just created a little triangle and then flipped it around so I could have this similar half squares, and I can line them up okay, and that part's not too bad. I think the thing that I don't like about Word that I think is going to work better in Cricut Design Space is if I want to copy this whole row here and then paste it right next to it, I can't, it's going to paste it down here, and then it's not like I can just copy this and move it up there. I kind of have to move them one at a time, and I thought that that was taking forever. I think the other thing that I don't like in here is I can format these shapes to change the colors, you know, according to the pattern that I'm going to use, but they're kind of wonky, and it just, to me, it didn't seem like it's working as well in Word. So I'm going to go into my Cricut Design Space and kind of show you why I think that that is a little bit easier to use, both from the copying standpoint, from changing the color of my squares in the pattern, and also the, you know, alignment of things I think is working a little bit better in Cricut Design Space. So, I mean, Word is an option. You certainly could use this. It was just taking me a lot longer. So I just want to show you guys how I think this is going to work well in Cricut Design Space. So here's our pattern. The first thing we need to do on this one, because it uses these half square triangles, is create that triangle. The shapes available in Cricut Space, they have a triangle like this, but they don't have a half square. So unfortunately, we're going to have to create our own by grabbing a square and then grabbing a second shape. I'm just going to use another square. I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller, a little bit closer to what we're going to be using. And then with this bigger square, I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to place it over the top of this one. Once it's perfect, I'm not going to get too crazy with it since I already have mine over here, but I would select both of these and then do a slice. And what that's going to give me is, we'll give it just a second. It's a little bit slow when it does the slice. But when I pull this shape away and delete that, here's my little half square triangles that I'm going to need for this pattern. So that is how I got my shape. Alright, so now I just need to start lining them up and creating my pattern.
Alright, so now it's time to start building your rows. You can select both the half square triangles together and move them around. You can also use your alignment buttons within Cricut Space. At the top there, you can align to top is usually the best option. And once you get a few of them that are good, then you can start copying and pasting them as a group to start forming your rows. I like to do 3 to 4 at a time, then get those aligned, then also copy and paste those into the desired length of your squares. Mine was 16 squares across by 20 squares long. It's just going to depend on the pattern that you are trying to build. You can also start changing your colors. You can flip the rows vertically or horizontally to create different patterns. And the nice thing about this versus Word is once you get a row or 2 rows that you like, you can copy and paste all of that and then keep building to the length of the quilt that you want. You can select just 2 triangles at a time, 3, 4, however you want, and change the colors. You can flip them. So you can just really play around and build a pattern that you like with whatever colors you like. I'm going to put a link below to the PDF I created for this quilt in case you want, just for free. Once you kind of get things where you want them, all you really need to do is flatten this and do a print to cut, and then I just didn't cut it. I just printed it to a PDF, printed it on my printer, and it was as simple as that.
Alright guys, just some closing thoughts here. I numbered these rows. I thought that was going to make things easier for myself. And then I also went through and I welded together anywhere where there was 2 triangles that were the same color, because that's obviously just going to be a square that I create. I'm not going to sew 2 triangles together that are the same color. I thought that maybe was a waste of time. I don't know if that's the proper thing to do when you're quilting, but I'm not going to for this one. I'm just going to do squares and triangles where there's triangles, and hopefully someday when I finish this, maybe I can put a picture of the finished product in here. But for now, I hope that this might be an option for you if you want to look at creating your own patterns. I think there's a lot of versatility here, and I think it's a good alternative if you're somebody that's just starting out and you don't want to pay $180 for these professional quilting softwares. I just really wanted to, as a beginner, kind of test my hand at making my own patterns and see how it goes. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop those below. I look forward to any questions you might have. Thanks for watching.